give me your bad luck, boy. Don't want your bad luck, boy. Bad luck.
Oh dear Neptune, what is that synth lead? It sounds like the pegboard nerds listened to too much Vanek and 2 Feet and just said, hey, we could do that too, and made this trap tune trying to do something different and failing spectacularly. And since Kiz Keys' performance isn't doing too much here, plus the fact none of the other production is noteworthy, you end up listening to that terrible lead and it sticks out like a sore thumb. This song made me feel bad for giving Cheat Code a bad rating a few months ago. As generic as that song was, at least it was listenable. This, on the other hand, is trash. Skip it.
It's the kind of thing that you can't unsee. I'm sorry.
That is one of the worst drops I've heard this year. Beyond that, this is literally just cinema all over again. I didn't even like the original because it's a boring trap song. So you're just gonna re-release the song but add in an awful drop? Yeah, no thanks. Is this just gonna be the month of unnecessary VIPs? Because, seriously, why does this need to exist outside of the Rocket League Championship Series? Why do we need a rap verse from Isaac App? That's the most basic rap verse, all about being on top. Why is the production this overly generic Trap Nation song with the brass and trap production? Steve Aoki made better trap production about 5 years ago with his album Colony. At least Athena is trying here, and honestly, I'd prefer her vocal performance on here than on the original, but that's all I could give the song credit for. Let's move on.
Hello, audience. My name is Sven. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you something new. Since Bayside Park is back at college, in order to keep his workload low, I will be covering any remixes on Monstercat. So, let us get started. First we have the remix package of Remixes Waiting for Love. This remix package is okay. There were a few remixes I enjoyed, like the If Found remix of Saving Lives or Cranked as remix of Falling Apart. However, the rest aren't too good. The Olivers and Frankie Nuts remix of Lonely Nights sounds okay, but that second drop ruins the track a bit. The Isor remix of Can't He Let You Go was disappointing coming from him, and the Heritage remix of Waiting for Love was a complete mess. So this is a mixed bag. But at least it is better than the next remix package, which is the Last Summer remixes. I didn't have any expectations for this remix package, since the original Last Summer by Tokyo Machine and Weird Genius did not impress me. But this remix up is just plain boring. Do you want to hear Last Summer as a happy hardcore track, or a drum and bass track, or hear another Future Bass remake? No? Yeah, me neither. But alas, this is what we have. There isn't a single remix that I'd come back to. In other words, it is mediocre at best. That is all I have for this month. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Everything's changed without it. Everything's changed without it.
I'd just like to point out that I unintentionally called it last month that Hello World might release an EP. So, let's start out with easily the worst song on this EP, Without You. Hello World's vocals are fine here, but the drops are what bug me. The vocal chop is somewhat irritating, the garage tab is extremely weak, and the sound design is all over the place. Yeah, sorry, this isn't working for me. Let's move on.
You pull me right back. You pull me right
This might not be a popular opinion, but out of the newcomers to Monstercat, hayve have easily been one of the most disappointing artists on the label. They started off so great with their collaboration with Protostar, which was Isolation, but then collapsed with Kiro, which was this awkward dubstep track that didn't know which direction to go for. Change was their first solo track, and it was your average drum and bass tune. And I had to remind myself they even released a single this year called Between the Lines, even though I had already ranked it in January. But this might be their worst track on the label, and it's the worst because of how much they messed up here. I like elements of this track, such as the intro with the buzzing synths and ghostly pads, as well as the build-up with some story atmosphere and synth lead, only for it to come crashing down as soon as that drop hits with the flat synth growls, clunky cymbal crashes, and the standard drum and bass percussion. I almost feel bad for I'm Alright, because he sounds great on this track, but even he can't save this. I really hope hayve can make a comeback soon, cause this, it ain't it. Okay, I'll be honest here. I keep forgetting about this song, so I have to constantly listen to it to remind myself of what the song sounds like. And then I remember, oh yeah, this was that mediocre melodic rhythm track with flat synths and an odd choice for a snare, vocals that, while good, don't do much for the rest of the song, and a random trance drop that keeps the flat synths of the first drop but adds in hollow percussion. I'll admit I like the synth glitches in the drops, same with the intro melody and the build up, but they're not enough to save the song as a whole. And then I remember why I keep forgetting this tune.
Just like I do. Just like I do. Just like I do. Just like I do.
I really want to like Whipped Cream's songs on Monstercat, I really do. Her song Shouldn't with Reaper was one of my favorite Monstercat tunes of 2019, and her latest song Cry was a really good tune that had some haunting atmosphere to it. But then there was Light of Mine, which is a complete mess all around, and this song, it just feels so lackluster. Whipped Cream's vocals are really bad here, with all the vocal filters on her voice, and the drop is as boring as tar with the droning synths and weak tap in the snare. I just feel so empty after listening to this song because I know she's capable of more than this. It's not terrible, but I'm not gonna remember it in a few weeks. All I'm saying. I'm willing to defend most of Francis Gerald's catalog on Monstercat. The songs aren't all that bad. Ember sounded pretty decent. Same Mistake was fine enough for what it did, even if Josh Rubin's vocals sound bored and tired. And Shapes is going to make my best songs of 2022 list. But for here, yeah, I'm gonna side with the community on this one. This isn't all that good. Josh Rubin's vocals don't impress me in the slightest, but hey, at least he sounds awake unlike last time. And while the first drop sounds good with Francis Durrell's lead and the punchy snare, the second drop is a bore to get through. The synth pads sound flat, the snare is surprisingly weak, and the lead is pretty much gone. And I'm sorry, but that second drop kills the song for me, even if I enjoyed that first drop. So yeah, this might be Francis Durrell's worst song on the label so far, and this is not the comeback Mock needed, so let's move on. I mean, they all can't be winners here, can they? Conro has been on a roll recently when it comes to his tunes this year. Find You and Just Wanna Love are competing for which one will get my best of 2022. Plus, Feeling and Back to You were good tunes as well. So while this is my least favorite Conro tune this year, it isn't bad, but man is it disappointing. I'm not a fan of Aviella's vocals here, they sound very whiny compared to her other performances, and the production is really underwhelming for Conro standards with the standard pianos and percussion tap, and that drop, which is an overly standard house drop with Conro's staccato vocal chants. It sounds more like a Vice Tone song than it does Conro. Don't get me wrong, this is still a pretty enjoyable tune from them, but they have both done better than this. not as good as Guiding Light, but I still consider this to be a pretty good tune. Rogue's vocals are great here, the production on the verses with the guitars and twinkling synths sound good, and the drop is also good with the lush pads and catchy synth lead. I'm really happy Rogue is back and coming strong. Let's hope he continues down this road. I like it. So now we're on to a track from Leia Culver, and this time she actually produced this herself without nitty gritty. So, how did it turn out? Well, it turned out to be surprisingly good. Even if Leia Culver's vocals aren't great here, I like the hook of all the layered vocals coming together. The production is good here too, from the blocky snap and the synth pads on the verses, the build up to the song with the rising synths, to the drop with the vocal chops, clean synths, and a punchy snare. It's nothing special by any means, and this is nowhere near her best singles, but I can appreciate for what the song is worth. I'll take it. I mean, the streak couldn't last forever, could it? While I still consider this to be a good tune from Bad Computer, it's easily my least favorite from him, at least in terms of this year. I still like the melodies throughout the song, as well as the pixelated synths and pauses on the drop. However, there are a few problems with this song. One, the snare sounds pretty weak compared to the other songs, and two, the song lacks some body here. Bad Computer's other work had layers and progressions that felt full and dynamic. This just feels underwhelming by comparison. Don't get me wrong, this is still good and I still recommend it, but it's not his best by any means.
Wish it was easier. I wish it was
Okay, back to Hello World EP, Clouds in My Basement, with a good and unique trap tune. Hello World's vocals are good here, probably his best performance of the EP. The production utilizes his sound design well here, with the synth pads and the pixelated synths in the verses, and the drop is a really catchy blend of the pixelated lead, the 8-bit synth glitch, and some good use of sound design. The one issue I have is that snare sounds a bit odd, but besides that, this is a good tune from Hello World. I could see why this was the single choice. Wait, this is it? Only one new single from Covenant's EP. Alright, fine. Is it at least good? Well, actually, yes it is. In fact, it's my favorite tune from that EP. Katie's vocals are great here and have a lot of drive to them. Same goes for the rest of the production. The electric guitars in the verses and the synth lead that follows the song throughout, and that drop with the growling synths and sharper percussion. Overall, Higher Ground Part 1 was actually decent. Even All We Needed is growing on me. I hope that Higher Ground Part 2 is just as good as this. And to think Coven was starting to burn out with their singles. Way to prove me wrong.
I'm faking it, I can't pretend. In my head, I'm running circles again.
Okay, last new track from Hello World's new EP, and this might be my favorite new tune out of the bunch. While Adam Turley's can sound cheesy at times, and to be honest, his vocal performance isn't all that good, the highlight is in the production with the electric guitars and the 8-bit synths that have some impact, and some of the best sound design on the EP. So yeah, this is really good. Let's hope Hello World sticks around on Monstercat. I actually wouldn't mind that.
Always one more. Here you're looking for. Black velvet on a little smile.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. Yes, this is a cover of Alana Miles' Black Velvet from 1989. So since that's out of the way, how is the song? Well, it's actually great. Infected Mushroom's mid-tempo production sounds amazing here with the buzzing synths, the acoustic and electric guitars bringing some flair to the song, and Nita Tape sounds better than I expected for a cover like this. You could tell Infected Mushroom wanted to pay homage to the original. And while the original Black Velvet is still better, I mean, come on, that was obvious, it's still a lot better than I expected it to be. So, yeah, give this a listen.
Put try to fix our problems. Why do we lose our minds, ending us before we try? Why do we lose our minds, ending us before we try?
I'm starting to suspect there's a reason why Kirby keeps on releasing singles on Monstercat. Not only because Vertigo has been a pretty big hit with 16 million views on Spotify, but also because the majority of the community really enjoys his singles. And this is no exception here. Just Pulp's performance is average here, but honestly I think it helps the song's moodier club vibe is trying to go for here. And the production, while minimalistic, it has a lot of groove to it, between the bass, the boxy kick, the airy synth pads, and the surprisingly good vocal chops. Kirby's last single, Flying, while it was great, it was held back by an awkward synth lead that had to grow on me. This, on the other hand, doesn't have that issue, so yeah, the boyo made another hit. I'm on board if Kirby sticks around on Monstercat, cause this is great.
But I'd rather be in a store than in my car without you, without you.
Okay, seriously, the fact that Offski released a single that's not even his best work and it could still land on my top spot, that says a lot about how bad this month really was. Regardless, this is still a great tune from Offski. The vocalist on this track sounds great, the bass guitar adds a bit of flair to the song, the reverb vocal chops create a sense of atmosphere that I can really get behind, and the drops are a more relaxed take on Offski's style with his blocky leads and the gentle clap for the snare. And while I prefer other singles from Offski like Warmer, and if I'm being honest, I wish Offski's songs in general were a bit longer, contrasted with the rest of this month, it was the best I could find. And I'll take what I can get, I guess. And that was our month. And wow, it sucked. I have to give credit to helloworld for that EP, because without it, this month would have been worse. Putting all that aside, I'd like to make an announcement. Since I'm back at college, it's going to be harder to get these rankings out on time. It wasn't such a big deal when I had done my old method of rankings, but now that I'm using commentary, I think things might change in the fall. There's a reason why I let Sam cover the remixes for me. So if you enjoyed these rankings so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button and set notifications to all, so then you'll know when I release the next ranking. And if things get really busy in the months ahead, I might just do a top 5 best and worst songs of the month. And if you've enjoyed this ranking, be sure to hit the like button, it helps out a lot. With that out of the way, what's for next month? Well, Infected Mushroom releases their LP I Am 25, Wales returns with Royalty, a new artist, No Mana, debuts with Yesterday, and Vesk Green comes back with Monster. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.
What are you doing? You're not supposed to be here.